Welcome back to West Texas View.
Before the break, Ellen House was explaining the difference between Impact Midland and Midland First, and talking about how that was doing to promote the whole idea of working together and working better. And so I wanted her to talk a little bit more about how the trained facilitators that you use.
Okay, sure. Well, Impact Midland and Midland Shared Spaces has gotten together a group of volunteers in Midland and has, with the help of the Chamber and funding, provided professional training for this group so that they can then facilitate meetings all across the community, but specifically right now, the work groups that are going to be coming out from Midland First, and really looking more specifically at what projects might be important to Midlanders. So the facilitators, they are volunteers. They have all offered to do this, and we're really excited to be able to have folks who really are trained to facilitate a meeting, keep everybody on track, know what the goal is, and so forth, to report back out again.
Because if you don't train the trainer properly, then nobody else gets trained.
Right. Well, we've all been in meetings and on committees where everybody has, of course, a voice, and you want them to, but if you can't stay on the agenda and you can't stay on track, you end up at the end of a meeting kind of wondering what happened and what you've accomplished. These folks are trained to be sure that you get to the end of a meeting and you know that you've stayed on your agenda and that you've actually accomplished what you needed to accomplish.
If someone's out in the audience who says, you know, I have such a passion for what she's talking about, how do I get involved?
Well, the easiest way is either to go to Midland Shared Spaces website or call Midland Shared Spaces, and it's midlandsharedspaces.org, or call Midland Shared Spaces, and that number I think will be there. And then also Midland First has a website, and we're on Facebook and Twitter, so all of those things are available. The Midland First website is midland1st.com, and so there's lots of good information there. But this concept of trained facilitators and using that as a vehicle for moving forward really is being facilitated by and led by Vicki Day, who's the Executive Director for Midland Shared Spaces.
And so if you had to say, as chair of Impact Midland, you're on the steering committee for the other, but you're the chair of Impact Midland, what would you say has been the most unusual thing you've learned about how this works?
Well, I think the thing that I've been so impressed with is how willing folks are to join this conversation and to embrace collaboration and working together and moving forward as a community, and really putting aside kind of personal agendas and looking at the bigger picture of what's good for Midland, what's good for our kids and our grandkids in the future, as well as for us, of course. So folks are embracing the whole idea of collaboration and working together, and that really is Impact Midland's mission.
And when you talk about Impact Midland, do you meet at shared spaces in some of those common meeting rooms?
We do.
So you are witnessing firsthand how valuable that planning and implementation has been.
We absolutely do meet there, and the meeting spaces are so wonderful because we can accommodate a small group, which is just our committee. We can accommodate bigger groups when we need to. We have the ability to use all kinds of technology. We have whiteboards in several of the rooms. We can have a catered lunch. It gives you lots and lots of options for working through and having the meetings that you need to have to get everybody working together.
If you could say there was one thing that you wish everybody could understand about Impact Midland, what would it be?
Well, I think that it's forward-looking.
Good answer.
The purpose is to really make transformational change and to be a catalyst for that. We're not actually going to do the work, but to be that catalyst. And so it's forward-looking, it's forward-thinking, and we have folks on our committee that are really terrific at that, and they come from various places within the community to help us do that.
When you have, now let's change hats,
Okay.
and now you're a board member for Midland Shared Spaces. What is the most important thing that you see Midland Shared Spaces doing?
Bringing nonprofits together, I think. We are so blessed.
So it's not the affordable office space as much as it is the synergy.
It started out, I think, as really wanting to help nonprofits financially because they were under such a crunch with trying to pay the rent or getting kicked out of their spaces or whatever. But I think it's evolved to be bigger than that. And of course, if you can help nonprofits be more efficient financially, they can provide more services to their clients. And likewise, if we can get everybody working together, we can be more efficient in providing services to folks in Midland that need them. So what excites me so much about it is really seeing nonprofits coming together. And they're not all the same types of nonprofits.
No.
We have such a variety. And
Of clients or sizes or anything, and yet they can share so many things with like ideas.
Yeah. So that to me is kind of the most exciting part of what we're seeing as we're evolving.
Well, this has been a common theme of all of the tenants that have come to be on the program, and almost all of them in some way or other said that it was the networking, the joint problem solving that was the surprise factor.
Right.
That they were just happy to have a space, but then these other things came about that just put such added value to their tenancy.
Right, and it's wonderful that we have the 13 tenants that we have now, but we're also getting nonprofits who don't office in our building involved, and that's one of the goals, our forward-thinking goals, is to get more of that to happen, to bring more nonprofits into the building, at least for meeting purposes and collaboration purposes, space issues when they need to have a big meeting, big training, those kinds of things.
We're going to have to take a break. We'll be back in just a minute, but I want you to think, as we're finishing up this program next segment, the ways that you could get involved. We'll see you in just a minute.
Stay tuned. West Texas View will be right back.